In the past few hours, North Korea says it's launched a long-range rocket and successfully placed a satellite in orbit. All of that in defiance of widespread international criticism that it's developing a ballistic missile program. While satellite pictures captured preparations for the launch on Monday, a similar launch in April ended in failure minutes later. North Korea is banned from conducting missile tests under UN sanctions. The rocket left the Sohae launch site on the west coast. Then, according to the Japanese government, the missile passed over Okinawa. Some of the rocket is believed to have gone into seas off the Philippines as planned. North Korea says the test was successful and the satellite made it into space. Harry Fawcett joins us from Seoul. Already international reaction coming in, Harry?
That's right. It was just over 3 hours ago that the South Korean government said that it had detected the launch of this rocket. About an hour and a half later, North Korea's own state media agency saying not only it had launched the rocket, it had been successful in launching its satellite into orbit. The South Koreans and the Japanese had been monitoring the trajectory of the rocket. They seemed to suggest that the parts of the rockets that were due to fall in the pre-designated zones had done so. They stopped short of confirming the success. The South Koreans say that they need US confirmation that there is now a satellite in orbit. I'm joined now by Professor 최종건 of Yonsei University. Professor, there's been condemnation already from South Korea and from Japan calling for a UN Security Council meeting to assess this. What can be done at the UN?
Well, obviously, they're going to meet tonight at Korean Standard Time, and perhaps what we can expect is that Security Council resolution and condemning their North Korea behavior. But at the end of the day, we actually consume all plausible options. Perhaps United States and China might be working very closely together and come up with a new diplomatic coordination. But at the end of the day, menu is pretty limited.
As well as that, I mean, the United States has been calling this a ballistic missile test, as has South Korea. This is the first time that they've been successful with such a big, long-range rocket. People saying this could potentially bring the west coast of the United States into range. Should this be viewed as a wholly new missile threat against the US, and how will the US be expected to react to that?
I mean, too early. For any long-range rocket to be converted into a long-range missile, ICBM, it has to have the very important technology that is called re-entry technology. The ballistic missile has to fly away and out into the orbit and then has to come back into the sky. But that technology, we're not really sure whether North Korea has that anyway. But today, if they really succeeded as they argue, then we are actually looking at longer range capability of North Korea rocket anyway. So it's a new challenge for South Korea and the United States and international community as a whole.
The timing of this launch, obviously, it comes in the centenary of Kim Il-sung. It comes around the time of the first anniversary of Kim Jong-il's death. There was also talk about it coming during the election here in South Korea. Now, both leading candidates say they want to re-engage with North Korea. Will that be possible after this launch? The fact they've got it out of the way before the election, can people start with something of a new slate at the beginning of next year?
I mean, done is done. Basically, both candidates has to formulate this new security challenge for their upcoming election anyway. But whoever gets reelected, the president-elect has to formulate so-called new formula to North Korea. That has to be a lot softer than the past administration. Otherwise, we have no exit strategy. In other words, engaging North Korea is one thing, but formulating more grand strategy is the other, and that has to come first.
What about the domestic situation in North Korea? There was remarkably little coverage of this launch, it seems, in the domestic media before it happened, compared to what happened in April and the failure then.
Right.
Now they've announced it publicly on Korean television. What does this do for Kim Jong-un's position? How will this play domestically?
Domestically, it's a great success. If they really succeeded, as they argue, if this is really success, then it's a great political victory for this newly emerged Kim Jong-un regime. And obviously, this is a legacy that he carried from Kim Jong-il anyway, and he succeeded it on the very first anniversary of the Kim Jong-il's death and his first year as a leader. So then it's a great celebration for Kim Jong-un, and his reign would be a lot stronger.
What about the reports that he's been having trouble with the military? He's replaced, it seems, 4 of the top military figures in North Korea. There are reports of military opposition to some of the attempts at economic reform. Will this be enough of a gift to them to secure their support?
Of course, and also it depends on how you look at it anyway. In other words, he's strengthening the party. That means that we can interpret it in a way that he's strengthening the reform faction, because the military has been running the country for the last 5 to 10 years. So therefore, he's sort of gradually weakening the military, and by strengthening the party and leadership, therefore he can position himself to be more reform-oriented. So, we got only 1 year. So it's too premature, but next year will be more active Kim Jong-un we might expect from him.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you
Professor Choi. We already have been hearing about a cabinet and foreign ministry meeting instituted by the President Lee Myung-bak here in South Korea. There'll be a defense committee meeting at the parliament a bit later on today. We'll be monitoring all those events and bringing them to you as they happen.
Thanks so much, Harry, from Seoul there. Previous attempts to launch long-range missiles have failed, though. In 2006, Pyongyang launched a Taepodong-2 ballistic missile. That failed within a minute. In 2009, it tried to put an Unha-2 with similar technology into orbit, again without success. And in April this year, an Unha-3 fell into the sea within 2 minutes of launch.